Oh, and Mrs.
And Ms. Morris. We're going to come stand right in front of you.
Please do.
Yes.
You want to stand here?
Please.
Great. I'm so short. What do they call it?
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose blood stripes and bright stars through the perilous skies? What so proudly we watch, what so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, and the torch singing air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave over the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Great job.
That was awesome. That's so cool. Very good.
Follow the tiger.
Okay, you have to follow the kids. Welcome, everyone. On behalf of the Bethlehem Area School District Board of School Directors, and I see one of our directors here, Ms. Raya Levy, it's my pleasure to welcome you to Fountain Hill Elementary in the Bethlehem Area School District. I'm Jack Silva, and I'm honored to serve as the Superintendent of Schools and support our 22 schools and the Bethlehem Area School District community. Please allow me to welcome Governor Shapiro and Secretary Rowe as we recognize some other elected officials who are with us today. With us is Senator Miller, Senator Boscola, Senator Schweier.
He got promoted.
Oh, Representative Schweier, I'm sorry.
That's a promotion.
I let the cat out of the bag. Representative Samuelson. County officials are with us. Lamont LeClure from Northampton County. There you are, Mr. LeClure. That, as well as other members of the district administration, we welcome you today. What everyone doesn't know is that other very famous leaders have visited Farmersville in the past. As a matter of fact, most notably, Vice President Biden 10 years ago visited Farmersville, and it worked out pretty well for him. So it's in that we welcome the governor to our school district, which is the 6th largest school district in the Commonwealth. We have approximately 13,000 students served by 2,000 employees. Our district is made up of 5 municipalities: Bethlehem, the city, Bethlehem Township, where we are right now, Hanover Township, and the boroughs of Fountain Hill and Freemansburg. We are incredibly proud of our diverse, popular community. A major goal of our school district is to attract and retain high-quality, diverse teaching workforce, where every classroom is led by an excellent role model teacher. We have made a lot of progress in this area, but one thing that holds us back is the financial burden that is student teaching, which is essentially an unpaid internship that future teachers find difficult to afford. That is why our district and community are so supportive of Governor Shapiro's effort to provide expanded student teacher stipends. Currently, we have 45 student teachers, 8 of whom, about 17%, are receiving those state stipends. There are many more future teachers who would benefit from this system. These stipends are tools that will help directly build the future Bethlehem Area School District workforce, as well as invest into the future success of the BASD community. So I can't be more happy to support that effort here today. Now it's my pleasure to introduce Nathan Hench from FIA. Nathan?
Thank you, Dr. Silva. My name is Nathan Hench, Senior Vice President at FIA, Pennsylvania's Higher Education Assistance Agency, and FIA is pleased to be a partner in the PA Student Teacher Support Program, which, as mentioned, is a valuable program to help relieve the financial stress of student teachers while they perform their in-classroom experience. The program provides $10,000 to eligible students, teachers, and up to $2,500 for cooperating teachers who will be working with the student teacher to mentor them through their student teaching experience. While FIA is working to wrap up the 2024-25 program year, I'm pleased to announce that this Thursday, March 6th, the student application for the 25-26 Student Teacher Support Program will be available on fia.org/student teacher. Anyone who is planning to student teach or is currently in the process of applying for a student teacher position for the 25-26 award year, they're encouraged to apply early on March 6th. FIA is looking forward to another year of helping Pennsylvania student teachers as they complete their in-classroom experience. And now I'm happy to introduce my new friend, Secretary Rowe.
Thank you for that introduction. It was almost 25 years, well, actually, it was slightly more than 25 years ago that I was in the position that so many of our student teachers are in today, beginning my student teaching in a town in northwestern Pennsylvania, Greenville. And I remember the excitement that I had and kind of the trepidation. I also remember some of the hardships that I faced because we didn't have a program like this. It's one of the great things about working for the Shapiro administration is that idea that things get done with a common sense mentality. And it seems perfectly common sense to me that students who are student teaching, who are going to become the next group of teachers that are going to be leading in our classrooms, shouldn't have to worry about their rent. They shouldn't have to worry about groceries. They shouldn't have to worry about those things that the rest of us take for granted, and that all the teachers around them doing the same work are not having to worry about because they're actually receiving pay. So now we have this payment opportunity for student teachers. This stipend is really symbolic of the work that they are doing and moving forward. I am thrilled that in the recent budget, Governor Shapiro decided to propose a doubling of the amount of money that's already there because we know that this is a really important opportunity and really great for student teachers everywhere. With that, I'll turn it over to Senator Boscola.
Thank you. Thank you, Secretary. Yes, I'm so excited to be here. When I heard Governor Shapiro was going to be here, I was like, again? I was like, wait a minute, this is like 5 times in the last 2 years. I don't know the last time that's happened with the governor. So I really appreciate that he's here. And you know, he has been bold and has set the mark here in Pennsylvania, the marker down actually when it comes to education. And when he talked on his budget address this last February, he actually talked about education and was a big component of his budget. So this stipend program that we're talking about is just one of the components. And it's so important because, you know, the future of our communities depends on teaching, right? We need an educated workforce, and it starts with teachers. And I know that I would not be here myself in my capacity as a state senator. It wasn't for the teachers that I had. Now, some of them I liked and some of them I didn't, but it's the ones that I didn't that I remember the most.
That was off the record, that last part, everything else.
No, it was the ones that I didn't that I remember the most because they were the ones that really said they're Lisa, you really talk too much in class, which led me to probably the profession I'm in today, and others that when I misspelled a word made me write it 100 times on that chalkboard. So things like that I remember from my teachers that brought me to the place I am today. The one thing that I will say we need to double the money is because it is not fair. that some student teachers get this money and others don't. Every single student teacher in this Commonwealth of Pennsylvania should have this opportunity. And that's why I'm standing here alongside my governor today, who I admire so much and so proud to stand with every time he speaks and talks about something that we're trying to do in Pennsylvania, because he gets it and he works across the aisle to get it done. He's a common sense governor, and that's what we need in this Commonwealth, and you can see it with this initiative today. Thank you, Governor. And now, to my colleague. You're next.
I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's the newbie.
Thank you, Senator Boscola. My name is Senator Nick Miller. I want to take the opportunity to thank the governor for your commitment to the Lehigh Valley. So a round of applause for the governor. So as Senator Boscola said, I am the newbie. I'm still in my first term, but formerly served on the Allentown School Board. And so this means a lot. Education is my top priority. And in the Senate Democratic Caucus, we deliver for education. We deliver for farmers, small businesses, but education is the foundation of our communities. And as was stated before, 8 recipients of this program are in the Bethlehem School District, but a lot more work to do. A lot more work to do in facilities, a lot more work to do on student-teacher pipeline, and I could not be doing that without Senator Vince Hughes. He's been a champion for education, along with a lot of our other members in our caucus, but having Senator Hughes, the appropriations chair, behind this program is a meaningful investment in our community and our workforce development. And another partner on this initiative is Representative, not Senator yet, but Representative Pete Schweier, who's been a partner in the Lehigh Valley delegation in Allentown and a friend of mine. So Representative Schweier, thank you.
Be really awkward because Senator Miller is my senator, so we're making no announcements in Senator Boscola's district. That could get awkward quickly, but I'll call you next week, Nick. But Governor Shapiro, I want to start with a sincere thank you. As chair of the Education Committee, Governor Shapiro and I, and then Deputy Secretary Rowe and I, had a multitude of conversations last year, and over the last 2 years. And one of the things that we've really tried to drill down on is improving the workforce in our schools, because any parent in the world will know that the most important thing to make sure that your child is able to learn and succeed is having a great teacher in the classroom. We just don't have enough teachers, good, bad, or indifferent, Senator Boscola. We don't have enough teachers in our classroom, period, full stop. Now, I'm the proud parent of 2 public school kids in the Allentown School District. My oldest is a senior in high school. And it's a slightly different and unique perspective when you have that senior, and Governor, your kids are about the same age as mine are. And you start having those conversations with kids about what they want to be when they grow up. And the number of students that I'm hearing in Allentown that are now looking at education as a profession, whereas 2 or 3 or 4 years ago they weren't, is remarkable. And one of the major reasons why they're doing that is because collectively, Democrats and Republicans, House, Senate, and our governor and his administration have made it a priority to reduce those barriers to access becoming teachers in the classroom. We wouldn't be able to do this, like I said, if we didn't have widespread support. And one of our champions of education from the days when I worked for him is our State Representative Steve Samuelson. Steve, why don't you come up and say a few words, if you would, sir.
Thanks, Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you very much. Thank you for the invitation to be here today. What an impactful program the student-teacher stipends are. I was reading over at Marvine Elementary School this morning for Read Across America Day, and I met one of the recipients. Ashley, right there in the front row, is one of the recipients here in Bethlehem, but also all across the state. I want to thank Governor Shapiro for being such a champion of education. He's had 3 budgets. Each of the budgets, his historic highs for education funding in 2023, 2024, 2025, what the governor's proposed and what we support in the House Democratic Caucus. Last year was $1.1 billion additional funding for education all across Pennsylvania. That has made such a tremendous impact in every community in Pennsylvania. And this student-teacher stipend program, it helps a lot of kids think about going into teaching. It helps with the expenses during that semester. And it also is going to have a tremendous impact on all the young people those teachers are going to influence for many, many years to come. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you. Let me invite up Jeff Nye, our PSEA representative. PSEA did extraordinary work helping us get this done. Jeff.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning, everybody. My name is Jeff Nye. I am a fifth grade teacher up in the Wilkes-Barre area school district, currently serving as the vice president of the Pennsylvania State Education Association. And I am so proud to represent the 177,000 members across Pennsylvania, including about 7,000 student PSEA members. Our student PSEA members are the young people that studied in our colleges and universities to become the next generation of Pennsylvania educators. And they were a driving force behind the creation of the Student Teacher Support Program. They met with their elected leaders and they shared their stories to make the case for this life-changing program. And to the credit of not just the governor, but Representative Schweier, Senator Hughes, Senator Boscola, Senator Miller, and many others, you all listened to them. You heard the stories of our student PSEA members, and you took decisive action. The Student Teacher Support Program has removed a major barrier on the road of becoming an educator right here in Pennsylvania. And it has created a strong incentive for aspiring educators to want to stay and teach in Pennsylvania. This program is benefiting people like Melanie Williams, a student PSEA member and aspiring educator that the governor asked to join him during the budget address. She had completed her student teaching in the fall with the Centennial School District. She said that as a mother of two, it was a tremendous relief for her to receive a $10,000 student teacher stipend. And she said, and I quote, "It is virtually impossible to work a full-time job as a student teacher and support my family. The only reason I decided to do my student teaching last fall was because this program was available." And many other student PSEA members have voiced similar feelings of relief after receiving their stipends. It has allowed them to put gas in their cars, pay for groceries, afford their tuition, and keep current on their rent. It has allowed sole providers like Melanie to keep their families afloat while they pursue their dreams of becoming teachers. And because they don't have to find another job on top of the full-time job of student teaching, they are able to spend more time preparing their lessons, developing their teaching skills, and learning from their mentor teachers. Speaking of mentor teachers, this program is paying them stipends for the many hours of additional work with their student teachers. And guess what? More teachers want to step up to the plate and be those mentor teachers for the next generation. Student teaching benefits so much wisdom, guidance, and experience of these dedicated mentors. So on behalf of our student teachers and our mentor teachers, I would like to thank everybody here today, as well as the folks from FIA, who have done such a remarkable job getting this program up and running in such a short period of time. Thank you for continuing to prioritize teachers. And I'm thrilled to hand over the mic to our next speaker, a student teacher right here in the Bethlehem School District, Giovanna DeMarco.
Hello everyone, my name is Giovanna DeMarco. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to speak today about the stipend program. A little bit about me, I started my academic journey aspiring towards a career in pediatric neurology. I thought I was going to med school. What started as a master's in neuroscience turned into a pursuit towards helping neurodivergent students in special education, students actually like me. Because I did not have a background in education, I could not be a teacher of record, meaning I could not work a full-time job to be able to support myself through student teaching. In a panic, I explained my circumstances to the placement specialists at Gwynedd Mercy University, who researched the stipend program at FIA and advised me to apply. Because I was awarded this stipend, I am able to focus solely on the students and learning support. Not only have I been welcomed into a community that operates like a well-connected team here at Farmersville, but I have been able to focus on learning how to provide the highest quality of support to help students defy expectations and learn despite their shortcomings. As a future teacher in special education, I believe this field to be a vocation dedicated to shaping the emotional, social, and educational well-being of future generations. As we know, there is an immense shortage of educators in our state. This stipend not only allows those who aspire towards this great career to become highly trained and equipped to cater to students' needs, but will provide the opportunity for more people to impact the lives of children. And now I'm pleased to introduce Governor Josh Shapiro.
Thanks. Giovanna, thank you. That was awesome. And I say that not just as your governor, but also as someone who couldn't quite make it through pre-med and ended up in a different career. We are fortunate that pre-med wasn't right for you and that you're doing this work. And you are who we're fighting for every day to make sure that you have an opportunity to get in the classroom and to bring your immense talents to helping the next generation of community leaders. So thank you. We appreciate you very, very much. And it is good to be back in the Lehigh Valley, and it is wonderful to be here today. Superintendent Silva, thank you for inviting me. Where'd you go? There you are. You started over there. Thank you for inviting me. Your team has just been wonderful. You've got a terrific group of leaders here, and we appreciate you very, very much. And thank you for letting me speak to Miss Taylor's second grade classroom. I really enjoyed visiting with them and getting the chance to read to them. I want to also say we had an opportunity to hear from Giovanna, and Jeff made the point earlier about the mentor teachers. Let me thank Nicole Callum for her great work mentoring Giovanna as well. So thank you. When I walked in, I was trying to explain to some of I think it was the third grade student, what a governor actually does. And this student was really smart. They said, well, you make laws. And I said, well, I don't get to make those laws by myself. In fact, I work with people from another branch of the government. And they were correct in mentioning the other branch of the government being the legislative branch. I want to let you all know, here in the Lehigh Valley, you have an extraordinary group of legislators that fight for you and deliver for you every single day. You heard from them before, but Senator Boscola she's a veteran leader. She's been doing this for a long time. She knows how to deliver, and she's about common sense. And I know, speaking of mentoring Nicole, she's mentoring Senator Miller along the way, one of our newer, whether he likes it or not, I don't know, one of our newer senators, but who comes from an education background and brings that expertise to the work that he does as a state senator. Speaking of education, Representative Schweier, who you know is Pete in the community, this guy is the chairman of the Education Committee. That is a big deal. For all the changes that we've made, they all go through his committee. If he's not for it, it doesn't happen. And if he's not talented enough to, figure out how to get this done, it doesn't happen. And he delivers for us every day. I'm really grateful to Chairman Schweier. I'm really grateful to Representative Samuelson, a guy who also is a veteran member of the legislature. We served together in the legislature, and he's known as Sammy Samuelson, and a man who cares deeply about our kids. I need you to understand, you're blessed with this delegation. They work really hard for you. They deliver for you. It's not always like this, but this group does a great job. And so I'm thankful that they're here today and thankful that they're going to shepherd this again through the budget process and help us get this done. You heard from Jeff Nye, a member, leader of PSEA. They really were a big driver behind this and so much more of the education reform and investments that we've been able to make. And Jeff, I'm grateful to you and PSEA for your leadership. Nathan, I'm grateful to FIA for administering this. And I really want you, if you haven't already, to meet Carrie Rowe, who is my nominee to be Secretary of Education here in the Commonwealth. Coming from an education background, you heard in Northwestern and in Southwestern Pennsylvania. She's worked at the Department of Education for some time now. She's going to be an awesome leader of PDE, and we're really grateful to you, Secretary Rowe, for being here and for your leadership. One of the things that you may not know is that we are one of the only states in the entire country, I think there are 3 of us now, last year there was only 1 of us, with a divided legislature. The Senate is led by Republicans, the House is led by Democrats. So for me to get any bills to my desk, I'm going to go a little deeper than I did for the second graders here. Follow me on this. To get any bill to my desk requires Republican and Democratic support, and requires what Senator Boscola was talking about before and what she preaches, which is common sense. We have focused on seeing a problem and then solving that problem. and bringing Republicans and Democrats together to get that done. Case in point, and your superintendent knows this very well, is the way we fund education in Pennsylvania. The year before I took office, or actually right around the time I was taking office, a court ruled that the way we fund education was unconstitutional. Literally was against the Constitution that says that every single person in Pennsylvania has a constitutional right to a thorough and efficient education system. What did we do? We didn't wring our hands about it. We actually didn't file lawsuits to try and stop it. We all came together, Democrat and Republican alike, and addressed what the court said. We not only are putting, as Representative Samuelson said, an historic amount of funding into public education, and this district has benefited from it. We also fixed the formula. Schweier insisted upon this with others to make sure that the dollars that we put in now go to the districts that need it most. So we funded the schools and we made sure to drive the dollars out to the schools that need it most. An example of solving a significant problem. We not only solved that problem statewide, we made sure that districts like yours benefited from that, from more money and from this new formula. So for example, the Bethlehem Area School District received in this last budget just almost $56 million from the state, $56 million. That is $8.4 million more than the year before because of the new funding formula and because of the additional funding. Putting your superintendent, your principal in a position to make sure they can hire more teachers, shrink class sizes, give the students the technology and the materials that they need, hire more mental health counselors, be able to do repairs on buildings that need those repairs, put more dollars into special education. We are making sure that districts like this that are growing, and the sixth largest, you said, in the Commonwealth, have all the resources that they need. That's an example of a problem that we solved coming together, Democrats and Republicans alike. But it's only one problem. We also have a serious workforce challenge. Now, let me explain. Workforce is really different than employment. Employment is right now, and actually more Pennsylvanians went to work today than at any other time in our Commonwealth's history. Our unemployment is historically low. When you think about workforce, though, you have to think about the challenges you have tomorrow and the next day and in the months and years to come. We have a shortage of really critical workers. We have a shortage of nurses and firefighters, police officers, those who care for the elderly. And yes, we have a shortage of teachers. And so we set ourselves out to solve that problem too when it comes to teachers. Right now in Pennsylvania, we have 5,500 teacher vacancies all across our Commonwealth. That's in large measure due to the fact that fewer people are choosing to go into teaching, and fewer people are getting certified each year. 10 years ago, Pennsylvania certified about 20,000 teachers each year. Last year, Pennsylvania certified 5,600 new teachers, from 20,000 to 5,600. Now, there's some good news in that. If you squint, you look really closely. The 5,600 is 600 more teachers certified than the year before. So we're beginning to grow again because we set our sights on solving this problem. The Pennsylvania Department of Education, led by Secretary Rowe, is prioritizing hiring more teachers and getting us back to where we were before. We came together and identified the problem of a teacher shortage, and we came together with a tangible, common sense solution, which is to provide to people like Giovanna a teacher stipend to make sure they have dollars in their pockets while they're student teaching. In the past, folks would take out a loan while they were student teaching, or they'd have to dip into their savings. Or, unfortunately, what we saw too oftentimes, they would love education. They would want to help our kids, but then they would go into a different career path because they simply couldn't afford to go into teaching. So we put together this teacher stipend initiative, which has helped 2,240 student teachers all across Pennsylvania. But Unfortunately, that is not enough. We need to fund more of this. Just when we opened up the window for applications, we had 4,299 applications. So over 2,000 students didn't get the student teachers didn't get the opportunity for one of these stipends. The good news is folks like Giovanna did, but we also need to make sure that more do. That is why in my budget, I've doubled the amount of money that's going to be made available to student teachers to increase it by more than 1,000 student teachers next year. So we really hope that we're getting closer to that 4,000 number with this bump up in our state budget. As you heard from Nathan, the application window for next year is opening up on Thursday. And so I want to encourage student teachers all across Pennsylvania to apply right now. And I want to encourage you to reach out to your lawmakers. You can skip the ones up here because they're already on board, and tell them how important it is to double the student teacher stipend in this year's budget so we can continue to grow the number of teachers we are certifying in Pennsylvania. And by the way, speaking of certifying teachers in Pennsylvania, when I took office, it took almost 3 months to get a teacher certified. Now we have it down to less than 2 weeks. We are moving more quickly, getting these teachers in the classroom, and we have these student teacher stipends available to help more of them offset the cost that they would typically have waiting to get their full-time job. Listen, education workforce shortages is a key challenge. That's why I've made addressing workforce issues a huge priority in my budget, specifically the kind of workforce shortages that we've been experiencing in our schools. I want to make sure every one of those second graders I met not only has Miss Taylor, but has a bunch of Miss Taylors, because they deserve the best of the best. This is the foundation upon which we build everything else, an amazing education for these kids. And the way we deliver that amazing education is through our teachers, and the way we bring more teachers into our classroom is by supporting the expansion of the student teacher stipend. So I want to thank you for welcoming me here today and giving me the opportunity to highlight an important priority of mine in the budget, to highlight the important work these lawmakers did to get these dollars out, to highlight a leader like Giovanna, who is taking our hard work and turning it into reality, which is benefiting our kids, and to show that here in Pennsylvania, we know how to come together and solve problems. And now we've got to really focus our attention on solving these workforce challenges, especially in our schools. So thank you for having me here today. And with that, Giovanna is going to answer any questions from the media. We're happy to be here. Thank you very much. You ready? Any questions? Yeah.
So is $40 million enough to get this stipend to everyone who wants it or needs it?
Not everyone, but it allows us to grow it by more than 1,000 student teachers. So to get the number right now that's hovering in the low 2,000s up above 3,000, and then we'll continue to grow from there.
Yeah, optimistically, if you were able to get this passed this year in the budget, you mentioned 20,000 10 years ago. Is there any sort of timeline when you're hoping to get back to that 20,000 number of new teachers?
Well, I think our goal is to get to what we need to make every school district function at an optimal level, to make sure every superintendent feels like they have the complement that they need. Obviously, we need a bigger pool to pull from, and that is what I think this student teacher stipend initiative is showing, that we can now increase the size of the pool and increase the number of teachers. So we saw a problem. We created sort of a nadir, right, a bottom, and now we are growing again, and we got to keep growing. And I believe if we continue to grow at the pace we are, we're going to address our workforce challenge. Yes.
Yeah, my issue is, how do we solve the problem of the black educator? Black educators are now called an endangered species, and so there are not enough of us in the classroom, and it sends a wrong message to all the children in the classroom. So how do we solve that problem?
Well, I'll answer generally. I'll leave it up to your local district to answer more specifically about issues here. If we have a larger pool to pull from, if we have more teachers that are going through the process that look like the students that they are there to educate, that allows us to have more diversity in our teachers and in our teaching complement, and that I think is good for everyone. Anything else? No? Yeah, last one.
Why come to the Lehigh Valley why come to Bethlehem Area School District to talk about this policy?
Because I think the Lehigh Valley has its act together in so many different ways. One, you've got a complement of lawmakers who know how to work together to get stuff done. You've got a district that is large and is benefiting from the new funding and utilizing that funding in a really smart way to educate our children. And because I think they can be a model for the rest of the Commonwealth as to how to take this initiative, the Student Teacher Stipend Initiative, and scale it up and use it to help elevate someone like Giovanna as an example of other teachers across Pennsylvania. God bless you. That was 6. Good job. You feel good? Great. All right. Thanks, everybody.